I welcome you all to the session 2.2 of Occupational Health and Safety. So in this, we'll be dealing with visual ergonomics. Visual ergonomics is a branch of ergonomics which specializes in vision and how we see the world around us. That is basically this visual organization is it is a prime importance in case of software industry, because most of the employees will be using their laptops or computers, where they'll be using a screen continuously. They'll be working on the screen. So here the visual ergonomics is whatever we see with our eyes, the screen, that is of the most importance. Visual is the most important thing, because there are a few of the old sayings that seeing is believing, an eye for an eye, okay, in the blink of an eye. So why they are comparing this eye is because it's of a very prime importance, that whenever we see, we believe that, or whatever I see, what you mean. So seeing itself is a very prime role of an employee when he's working. So that's probably because vision is our primary connection with the world. So whatever we see outside, to see the world, we need eye. So visual ergonomics is a very prime importance when it comes to a software industry. The eye and the visual system. So how the eye operates. So at a raised or eye level, as is often seen in computer environments, is awkward and unnatural. A complete eye examination is more than just reading letters on the chart 20 feet away. So here you see a diagram of the eye, how it works. So here the ice cream, ice cream which is being seen by the eye. So when it enters through the lens, so the image falls on the retina, where the retina is highlighted here in this portion, and this cells they uh, transfer the image to the brain. That is, this part of the brain is called as the visual cortex, where it gets processed, and then the image is being identified by the human mind. So this is how it works. So when a light falls upon an object, and then is that light passes through the eye, that is through the lens, okay, first through the cornea, pupil and lens. So these all are involved, and then when the light passes through this light falls on the retina, where the information is sent through the optic nerve to the visual cortex brain, where it is identified and interpreted. So this is how the eye works in the visual system. So it is simply one test of the function of one part of the visual system. The eyeball is just the receiver of light. Okay? It is just an instrument like a camera, where it receives that light which reaches into the lens, and the comparison of the eye to a camera is limited in understanding how we really see. So visual processing is accomplished in the brain, where the visual perception occurs. So the eye only takes the picture, but the picture is being interpreted, or it is being processed by the brain. So eyesight is the process of properly focusing the incoming light to the proper area of the retina, whereas the vision is the process of taking that information into the brain, making sense of it and reacting appropriately. The pathway of light through the eye travels through the cornea, the anterior chamber, the pupil, the lens, the vitreous body, and then to the retina, where the light energy is transformed into nerve impulses. Okay, when it lights up that particular area on the retina, that gets transformed into nerve impulses, and then it reaches through the optic nerve, it reaches the brain. It travels out of the eye via the optic nerve, which is a mass of about 1 million nerve fibers that extend from the retina to the brain. When the entire process works normally, the visual state is known as emetropia. If the light comes to focus too soon before striking the retina, it is called as the myopia or the nearsightedness. This is like if the image where it falls on the retina. So if image falls behind the retina, means the lighting which you see in the previous picture here, this image what is falling on the retina. So say if the image is not exactly falling on this area, it is falling behind this, means there is a problem in the lens. There is a problem in the lens. So in that case, if the image doesn't fall exactly here, it falls somewhere behind this, then we call it as long sightedness. Or if the image is not falling exactly on the retina, and when it falls before the retina, it doesn't reach the retina, then there is a blur image and we call it as nearsightedness. So this is how the lens works. If the light strikes the retina before it has come to a focus, it is called as hyperemia or farsightedness. Okay. If there is any distortion in the shape of the cornea or other optical structures, then astigmatism can occur. That is disturbance, the blur image is caused. This is a common occurrence and often needs an optical correction to compensate for the distortion. We should also discuss the fundamentals of binocular vision with emphasis on the computer viewing environment. The process of coordination between binocular vision and the accommodative or focusing system is presented in unique form. So studies have found that convergence system where the eyes turn in toward each other as the object moves closer, it plays a significant role in the vision stress. So now if you hold a paper very close to your eye and start reading it, then this thing happens, that is convergence system happens. That is the eyes tend to turn towards each other as the object moves closer. Okay, this this makes this stress in the vision. Okay. Additionally, the eyes turn down as well as in when they view a close object. This results in a normal near viewing posture which is duplicated optimally with book reading, the viewing of a near object. The history of visual demands puts our current day viewing conditions in a historical perspective. Homo sapiens first appeared about 40,000 years ago. We were hunters, gatherers, limiting our time to survival skills. So basically, we were hunters, we had a very sharp vision. Visually, this included hunting, making weapons, cooking, and little else. Since the origin of visual system and its design shows how our visual system demands have changed. When we are living longer and leading more active lifestyles, the effects of aging on the eye must be addressed. In 1900, the average life expectancy of a male in US was 47 years old. Now just over 100 years later, it is about 76 years. We have effectively outlived many of the useful functions of our eyes. Okay. The Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that by 2008, the group aged 55 or over will make up to 16.3% of the labor force compared to 12.4% share in 1998. Okay, this was predicted in 2008. Aging in the workplace is certainly an issue which needs to be addressed, especially in the area of vision. So next is computer vision syndrome. So in the software industry, most of uh, the engineers, software engineers, they will be working on the computers for many years. So computer use has grown significantly in the last 20 years. Since the first computer was developed in 1950, when it occupied an entire room, it is now as commonplace as a telephone in our workplace. There are currently over 175 million Americans using computers regularly in the workplace. And the growth of internet has ingrained computer use as a way of life. The symptoms of physical problems that computer users are experiencing are increasing. The eye care community has also seen a jump in the number of patients who request eye examinations due to symptoms they experience at the computer. So many software engineers complain about the eye problem, the eye getting red or the eye getting dryness in the eyes, okay, seeing a blur images, so and headaches, neck pain. So they all are related to the visual problems. So this has led to the American Optometric Association designation of computer vision syndrome. So according to the AOA definition, CVS is the complex of eye and the vision problems related to near work which are experienced during or related to computer use. Symptoms that most often accompany this condition are eye strain, headaches, blurred, distance or near vision, dry or red eyes, neck or back ache, double vision, and light sensitivity. The factors that most often contribute to CVS are a combination of improper workplace conditions, poor work habits, and existing refractive errors. So, main when in this working the lighting in the environment is very important. So, which will see that to make comfortable for the vision for the eyes. So, lighting, vision, and posture are all interrelated concepts. We are usually directed creatures and will alter our posture to alleviate stress on the eyes. Therefore, paying attention to body posture may be indicative of visually stressful situation. Okay, when we feel uncomfortable in the eyes, so we start moving our body. So that is the indicative thing that we have been stressful. Some of the symptoms of CVS actually concern the headache, neck, and shoulder areas of the body. So ergonomic standards. So there are different ergonomic standards. Ergonomic standards in the workplace um, promote worker productivity, safety, and health. So OSHA has been trying to set up a lot of standards, and they are still under research, and they are making putting up some standards in the ergonomics discipline. The standards outline practices for improving accessibility and visibility. So they provide standardized procedures and practices for measuring and reducing physical stress and mental fatigue from motion, vibration, shock, sounds. So representative standards for ergonomics are shown below. So these are some of the ergonomic standards. So for in different areas, so they have set up some ergonomic standards. So several hundred ergonomic standards may be found, such as the following. There are a few which we will be explaining. So general ergonomic standards, that is in a general sense, office ergonomic standards, vehicle ergonomic standards. So now you see when we go to buy a vehicle, so we take a trial test. Okay, we sit inside the seat and we see how comfort we feel. So how can we stretch our leg and how it is reachable to the clutch and the brakes. So those things and all, how the steering is comfortable to hold. So this thing that is the ergonomic standards in a vehicle. So thermal ergonomic standards, where people are working in high temperatures, how comfortable they are, how much heat is there, so how much cold is there. So that all comes under the thermal ergonomic standards. Machine ergonomic standards, so operating of any machines, employees who are working on the machines, so how easily it is operable, so how they are handling the machine, so how it is to hold, how the grips are made,
whether the machine is used while standing or while sitting on a chair, how it is being operated. So those things and all, the ergonomics matters when it comes to a machine, how comfortable the employee or the worker is working on the machine. And then if he is a left hand person, or if he is a right hand person, so how he will be dealing with the machine. So human system interaction ergonomic standard, uh, and then control center ergonomic standard, accessibility ergonomic standard, software ergonomic standard, handheld tool ergonomic standard. So these are the few. One by one I'll be explaining you. General ergonomic standard apply in wide range of situations, that is providing procedures, practices and design considerations that ensure consumer and worker productivity, safety and health. They serve as the baseline for the ergonomic standards for environments and industries with more specialized needs. Office ergonomic standards, standards for office ergonomics, the design of workspaces. So, how we are during the first session, I explained a few things about the workspaces. So, how the offices are designed, how the table is designed, how the chair is designed. Okay, at what height the chair should be there, how, and then the adjusting of the chair, the back adjustment, the height adjustment of the chairs. Okay, the workplace, the lighting conditions, those things, where to keep the cupboard, the files. Okay, how reachable is the file to the person who is working on the computer. So those things and all, the work environment help employers and employees maintain productivity and safe working conditions. So that the office ergonomics standards provide guidance to designers of office space, workstations and office equipment. Facility managers and safety officers are concerned with these standards as back, neck and spinal injuries and repetitive stress injuries impact performance and attendance. So if the working environment is workspace is not proper and they are getting a lot of stress or injuries, repetitive spinal injuries or backache, neck pain, so then the employee starts taking a lot of sick leaves, and also it is a loss for a company. The standards cover visual displays and computers, keyboards, office chairs, desks, as well as office environment factors such as lighting, noise, ventilation and temperature that affect the significant number of people. So when it comes to vehicle ergonomic standards govern auditory, tactical and visual communications between the vehicle and the driver. They relate to the thermal conditions in the driver's compartment. Okay, that is the AC, the steering and the vision of the driver onto the road. So those things and all have to be taken care. Thermal ergonomic standard are relevant where heat or cold are factors in the environment. So people who are working in the firefighting or in some cold storages or any thermal power plants or those things and all. So in the construction, surgery and other occupation, the ergonomic standards are important to protective clothing manufacturers and workers in the extreme environments. So if people, employees, workers are working in the extreme environments, there they'll be usually using a PP kit for in the thermal cases. Thermal ergonomic standards promote safety, productivity, health and well-being. So within this category are thermal ergonomic standards for measurement of physical quantities, analysis and interpretation of thermal stress on workers, methods for assessment of human responses to hot and cold, as well as other standards. So machine ergonomic standards. So as I said that machine ergonomic standards are critical for preventing serious injuries from crushing, cutting and thermal exposure. So this selection of international standards relate to placement of actuators, the size of access opening for service, whole body entry to machinery, user interaction with displays and controls. So basically this is all working on the machine, people who are working on machine. So how comfortable the machine is made for them, how the display is made, how interaction is made, how the user interface is there, so how easily they can operate the machine. They offer a uniform approach to ergonomic considerations for machine tools within the workplace and assistant design. installation and use of manufacturing systems, including individual and integrated machine tools, auxiliary components. Next is human system interaction ergonomic standards. So human system interaction ergonomic standards provide design principles and a framework for applying those principles to analysis, design and evaluation of human computer interface system. The selection of standards for human system interaction ergonomics applies to the following types of users: user interface designers, developers, evaluators and buyers. These standards relate to human-centered design, equipments and services for people with a wide range of sensory, physical and cognitive abilities, including those who are temporarily disabled. So people who are disabled, so to deal with the sensory perceptions, so they will be having machines for that. And elderly, ergonomic factors for design of input devices and considerations of how both hardware and software components of interactive systems can enhance human system interaction. Control center ergonomic standards. Control center ergonomic standards describe ergonomic principles, recommendations and requirements to be applied in the design of control centers. These standards would find application in processes, industries, transportation and logistic control system and people deployment services. Standards in this group cover ergonomic design principles for various arrangements of rooms and spaces in a control suite. The cover layout and design of workstations and environment aspects of ergonomic design, thermal environment, that is in a workspace, the temperature, air quality, lighting environment, acoustic environment, vibration, aesthetics and interior design. So accessibility ergonomic standards. Accessible design ergonomic standards define test methods and design considerations for auditory, tactile and visual signals on consumer products. So software ergonomic standards. So here to develop a user interface, usually for the multimedia user interfaces, they address users interface for application that integrate, synchronize static media such as text, graphics or images, and dynamic media such as audio, animation, video or media related to other sensory modalities. Handheld tool ergonomic standards. So handheld tool ergonomic standard, in this selection of standards pertain to the measurement and test methods for vibration and shock from handheld tools. Okay, if they are using, say for example, if they are using a jackhammer, so how much vibration is coming in the hand, so those things and all. Handheld tools which are there, so the drilling machines, they covers drillers, impact wrenchers, grinders and forestry equipment such as chainsaws, brush cutters and other group of handheld tools. Transmission of vibration, the size, weight, presence or absence of handles and their position all factor into elements of design selection and use of hand tools. So good resources for hand tool ergonomics are available on OSHA, that is Occupational Safety Health Administration site, that consider hazards in general industry and specific settings such as shipyards, marine terminals and construction. So these are the few references which have been referred. Thank you. This ends the session 2.2.